doesn't exist. Just like, well, everybody's the same, everybody's equal. It doesn't matter the gender because we're all humans. There's no inequality or anything.
For hundreds of years, women were treated extremely unfairly and were not seen as equals of men until the early 1900s. As time has progressed, women's rights activists, along with several other supporters, fought to close the gap to this disparity. In 2013, this disparity still exists, forcing women and some men to make sacrifices in order to meet their economic, personal, and educational needs.
So about gender inequality in the workforce, I feel that's not nowadays most people don't try to do that. They don't actively discriminate against women, but I feel subconsciously a lot of people do, because if a woman displays the same aggressive behaviors as a man, she's considered to be bitchy, like, period. And so it's just like a subconscious thing. It's not really done on purpose, but it happens, and we should, try to not do it.
Kathy, a wife and mother of 3 from Wheat Ridge, Colorado, had to make a sacrifice 16 years ago when she gave birth to her first child, a sacrifice Kathy does not regret. At the time, Kathy was a young attorney making a name for herself, but she knew she could not balance both work and care for her growing family, so she chose to stop practicing law so she could be there full-time for her children. Kathy's decision was not an easy one. She received criticism from her family and mentors, but sacrificing her professional career for her family was a more practical route. There are several parents across Colorado and the country that have to make the same difficult decisions that Kathy made 16 years ago. Kathy said that she has met several stay-at-home parents, both mothers and fathers. This suggests that leaving the workforce for family and varying economic reasons is not necessarily gendered. However, mothers are the ones who usually take on this sacrifice.
Of course it exists. Yes, of course it exists. I think that we've seen people get paid more, that we do the same type of work, and I think the salary is not equal. I think that the opportunities are not there for women as far as advancement.
I think that they're there sometimes, but I think it's less, it's limited, especially for women like us that have really young children. It's very difficult to balance those things and still have a career without being discriminated against, even if it's not blatant discrimination, just an attitude of you can't handle it because you are a mother or you're a woman or whatever. So I think it's improved, but it definitely still exists.
And I think it's hard to find good quality jobs when you have multiple children you have to pay childcare for.
That's what we were just
Yeah,
talking
we were
about.
talking about it. Can you afford to work, and then how much money do you bring home at the end of the day whenever you pay for your childcare? Because childcare is insane these days. So it's just hard to find good paying jobs.
Choosing family or work is not the only sacrifice men and women have to make to stay competitive in the workforce. Advancing forward and getting along with coworkers in a male or female-dominated field is not as easy as one may think. Angela, an employee from a ski resort in Summit County, said, "The men outnumber the women by a long shot. The skiing injury is considered more of a man's job than a woman's." Being a minority is one of the leading factors for inequality in several professions. If the male outnumber the females in a profession, studies show that males tend to be defensive to their female counterparts in fear of their competition. In essence, the majority assumes a sense of superiority. Angela said, "The men working here think they are automatically better than the women working here because of their gender." Many men and women tend to fall to this inequality. It is a problem in our society, but in order for Angela to pursue the path that she wants and change the way the system operates, this is a sacrifice she has to make.
Hey, I just feel that when somebody's looking at your resume, they shouldn't look at if you're a woman or a man, because just because you're a woman doesn't mean that you can't put out as well as a man can. Because I did 9 months petroleum technology course, and I have not been able to get a job in the oil field because I believe that I'm a girl. So I don't know. I just haven't given up yet. So I'm not willing to settle to the act of scrubbing toilets. So I just hope that somebody out there will give me a chance.
Regardless of the industry, most men and women experience some type of gender inequality. For Steve, a postdoctoral research fellow at the University of Central Lancashire in the UK, it was the assumptions that came with the job rather than obstacles in the job. The general public still perceives nursing primarily as a female profession that requires a nurturing and caring personality, which sometimes makes it hard for men to say, "I'm going into nursing." Steve, who worked as a general nurse before moving to health visiting and then back into education, stated that, "I did the typical male nurse thing and initially gravitated towards critical care and surgery. It was just seen as much more acceptable. When I tell people I'm a nurse, they're skeptical, but when I tell them I work in intensive care, they think of me slightly differently.
The biggest difference is that women aren't as confident about negotiating their own salaries and stuff like that, so we are more passive in our approach, where men come in and can say, this is exactly what I want and this is what I deserve.
Women and men should be treated as equals in society, but even in 2013, they're not equal. While both men and women are subject to these disparities, and though they both have to make sacrifices, we do not live in a post-feminist or even a post-gendered world. Women still sacrifice more in order to be competitive with their male counterparts, and yet a gender gap still exists in our workforce and society.
Well, we are both from families of strong women, and I can say that's why he married me. We intend to have a family, but we don't. I don't ever intend to stay home, primarily for financial reasons. But if we ever got to a point where that wasn't possible, I feel like I have a purpose and a need, and I'm smart enough to contribute to a society and a workforce. I do work in a male dominated industry and finance, but it is black or white whether or not you're an assistant or you're a financial advisor, so I do see that playing out in my industry. There are female financial advisors, so it's possible, but it's very much so male dominated.
I think gender equality's got a long way to go. It's kind of like racial inequality, where especially in the workplace, where it's, unfortunately our history 100 years ahead of us have set us up for a long way to go for growth. So I think we're making the right strides, but it still exists, and it's going to take a lot of time to completely go away. And obviously, geographically, urban centers farther along in other areas of our country. So hopefully we can get rid of all the way around where any gender race can go into any profession they want, but right now it's just kind of where it is. And we're hoping we're helping the race for gender equality as best we can.
Yes, and it's two sisters and a mom that are full-time workers, very driven, and so I know he's seen that. So come from a male perspective and how he views women. He's had strong women to influence him, his whole life. So it's probably a biased view coming from him, because this is important to me and supportive for me.
Now, where do you stand? The problem isn't fixed, but the conversation is at least started. All we ask is that you mind the gap, and congratulate Mary Barra for becoming the 23rd female to lead a Fortune 500 company. She begins leading General Motors on January 15th, 2014. Thank you.